Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Welcome back everyone to Drunk Camera Reviews. Today we have here the Canon WP-1, or otherwise known as the Autoboy D5, or some other fucking name. What was it? Prima AS1? Yeah, it's a waterproof point and shoot for when you want to take your point and shoot camera under the water. Now some quickie info on this camera. It came out in April. It was released by Canon in April of 1994, 2 years after I was born. Tells you how old my ass is. And it uses a 32mm f3.5 lens with 6 elements in 6 groups. It does have a 3-step autofocus system, which is pretty convenient. It also has a macro mode that will go all the way down to 45 centimeters. And here's a photo of it right here. Ting! It's my cat, taken with the flash on. Because when you put it in macro mode, it's basically a fixed focus of 45 centimeters and it puts the flash on full blast. Now as you can see, the way to control this camera is by this dial right here up front. Goes right to auto. That's basically auto everything. Auto exposure, well, you can't really change the exposure, so it's auto exposure all the time. But this is auto focus, auto flash, auto everything. And it most of the time will use the flash pretty often. It really likes to stop down the aperture because its top shutter speed is 1/250th of a second. I mean, even my mini lux is 1/400th, and I consider that fucking slow. It will, I mean, it's basically meant for underwater photography, so it's gonna be dark anyways. It doesn't really expect a whole lot of bright light. So I give it some leeway on that. If you're gonna want to, if you want to meow, you can be front row. So back to this dial. I'm not even gonna pay attention to where I left off last. It has a few different settings, of course. Has off dead center, which is pretty convenient. Flip it down, right to auto. It's actually pretty nice. It does force you to use, you do have to use 2 hands for this camera to operate it, but it's very quick to being on. Like you flip that down, it's on. You're good to go. Now, if you flip it up, you have a flash on all the time mode. And then if you flip it up one more time, you have no flash, which it will basically put the shutter speed down to basically a good exposure, and it'll go all the way down to 1 or 2 seconds. 2 seconds, that's the slowest it can go. But you also have, beyond this, you have your macro mode. Now, for the macro mode, you do have to actually hold it. It flips right back to auto as soon as you release it, so you have to hold it right there in order to take a macro photo. But it's not terribly hard. I mean, even either position you put it in, it's not terrible. Now, there's really not much to this camera, as you can see, besides this one control dial here. Now, if we move up to the top of the camera, you have, of course, your big old red shutter button, and then you also have your timer. Now, timer, I haven't had a chance to use that yet, but I assume it works just like every other timer. Now, you also have here your film counter window, of course, encased in, make it very, very easy to see if you are maybe, say, underwater. Basically, this whole camera is built to be used underwater. Very, very easy to use. It's got a giant viewfinder. Even if you wear glasses, this is probably a great camera for you because the viewfinder is incredibly large. It's meant to be used with goggles on. So, I mean, I can't really harp on the viewfinder too much. It is sort of like a fisheye because of the 32mm focal length and to make it capable of being viewed comfortably with goggles on. There's no frills in the viewfinder besides a little green light to let you know when the exposure is good. It's all locked in, and sometimes I have found that it does take a little bit to take the picture. In certain cases, it'll, I guess, maybe think about it. If your shutter speed is too low, it will pause for a moment and then it will take the picture. But if you're walking around during the day, it's immediate. And it's actually very, very quiet too. I mean, if you put this on, it's just, that is super quiet, which I'm actually super impressed with. because I bought this taking it out on, because we went down to Center City, Philly for when I was home for Christmas, and I used this a tiny bit, and I definitely I still have the roll in it. I still need to go in to get that developed, but I did shoot 2 rolls through it, I think beginning of December, because I got this, I think in November. I'm losing track of all the cameras that I freaking have. I got this, shot 2 rolls through it, but I intended to use it kind of as a little street shooter, just take everywhere camera, because it's waterproof. Why would I not take it everywhere? That's the whole point of this camera. And it even has this nice little lanyard strap to it that is super handy, and it's nice and bright red so you'll never lose it or lose your friend who might be carrying it. In case you're wondering what I'm drinking, I actually picked up some Asahi Dry when we were in Phoenix on our way home today, so delicious. It's always a good beer. Here you have your release for the film door. Now this film door, it's this entire back piece right here, but I can't remove it because I do still have film in there, and unfortunately there's no real way to get the film out without shooting through the entire roll. There's no real way to. The rewind button, which I still have yet to find on this camera. It's, oh, no, that's the tripod. Oh, is that it? I think that might be it. I'm not gonna try it because this is a roll of Portra 160 and I want to shoot through this entire roll. Speaking of Portra 160, the most interesting thing about this camera so far that I have found is the color reproduction from this lens. So all the photos I've shot were on like Xperia 100 and 400. They have come out super, super vibrant. Like, I shoot with my Leica Mini Lux a lot, and these colors are just incredible. They're super, super vibrant. Bright blues, bright greens, or kind of deep greens, as in a few of the photos. But it was just super interesting to see, and I think it's kind of because colors may be a bit muted underwater, just due to it's going to be a little bit darker, that they kind of did some work with the coatings on the lens that give it a little bit more vibrancy. And I'm completely okay for that. The photos I took came out pretty sweet, so not gonna knock them on that. Now, on the bottom of the camera, of course, you have your battery door, which has your standard CR123A batteries. Bit expensive, but I usually can find them at like Walmart or Walgreens, and they usually come in like a 2-pack. And you also have your tripod mount. So tripod mount, very, very convenient. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the film rewind, where you put a little pin in there and start the rewind process preemptively. So that's basically everything about the body of the camera. Now, actual usability of this camera, I've had pretty good time with it. It's compared to my Mini Lux, my stylus, which are much more pocketable. I mean, the Mini Lux, which I have here just to show as a size comparison, is still about the same size besides the viewfinder. Because the viewfinder is what makes this just a little bit larger, but you can still throw it in a jacket pocket or the sort. But really, it's been a wonderful camera just to use and to carry around on my side at all times, and the fact that it's completely waterproof, it's amazing. So you really will have no issues with this camera. And the best part about it is that I got this one pretty solid condition for $50. And I know some of you might say, oh, you overpaid for that, I paid $5 for this. I just bought it, so I really don't care. I didn't want to wait, I just bought it off eBay. But either way, this camera's in solid shape, and so far the photos have been looking awesome. So I'm probably going to continue using this camera. I really don't carry around my stylus too much. I actually have been using the Mini Lux a lot since recently. I just picked up some Ektar 100 or Ektachrome 100, and the Mini Lux's meter is incredibly good for slide film. So I'm going to do a review of Ektachrome soon as well. Other than that, I think that'll be my review of the Canon WP-1. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to see more of my videos in the future, or check out all my past videos. And if you like this video, give it a like. It really helps. Really makes me happy to see that people enjoy my videos. And if you have anything to add, or if you have any stories from your Canon WP-1, I would love to hear them. So leave a comment down below. But for now, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you all in the next video.